Hi everyone, welcome back to Trees and Turtles. My name is Imogen. In today's video, I am talking about fear. This video is cleverly titled, What Am I Scared Of? Talking about my top fears as a 23-year-old. If you're not already subscribed, make sure to do that, give this video a thumbs up, follow me on Instagram, and let's get started. So, I have anxiety and it is chronic, and I have been in therapy and I am on medication for my anxiety. And so I think it's important to talk about fear. Even if you don't have chronic anxiety, fear is something that often holds us back from being productive, and it's something that can really affect our mental health. And productivity and mental health are two big themes of this channel, so it's really key that we talk about fear. Did I say subscribe? Subscribe, thumbs up, follow me on Instagram, let's go. So one of my big fears is health problems. So I've seen firsthand how a sudden diagnosis or a chronic health issue can decimate your life or radically change it. I've had friends and family who have had like severe or like life-altering diagnoses, and I also live with multiple chronic mental health conditions. I've been hospitalized several times, once for my anxiety, once for I had like a really bad infection that almost turned into sepsis. So I was very, very lucky to have actually survived that, because the doctor told me if I'd been in a week later I might have died, so that was cool. And so I have a very sort of like heightened awareness of health problems and like mental health problems, and I guess I think about my own mortality too much. I guess I'm concerned with my mental health potentially becoming worse, because I know that these conditions are likely to be with me for life, even if I do manage them, and they are. I'm in a pretty good place at the moment, but I'm aware that it is chronic. Or, you know, that I might develop more adjacent conditions, or that, you know, my friends, family, partners, whatever, might develop some kind of like condition or have like a life-changing diagnosis, because I've seen what it can do. So health problems is a big fear for me, and I think taking care of my health has been a huge priority for me in 2024. Like, I got really serious about eating properly, you know, making sure that I'm like getting stronger, and, you know, taking care of my health, getting enough sleep, drinking enough water, all of that stuff. Health problems, they really scare me. All right, number 2. Losing my financial independence. This would be a nightmare for me. I worked so long and so hard to become financially independent, and I think losing my financial independence would really mess with my sense of self as an independent adult. It's been absolutely key to improving my mental health, to helping me achieve my goals. So I am very, very, very invested in improving my financial security and in maintaining and improving my financial literacy, and I am like almost obsessive about it. Like, I try not to be, but I am almost obsessive about it, because it means freedom. Like, that's literally what it means. So losing my financial independence is a huge fear for me. Like, so it's terrifying. Okay, fear number 3, let's try that again. Fear number 3, having housing issues. So I had housing issues as a student, both in terms of finding somewhere to live. Spoiler alert, the Durham housing market is astonishingly, shockingly competitive. Like, if you don't live in college, I lived in college my first year, and then I lived in privately rented student accommodation second and third year, and the process of finding somewhere to live was just like, it was absolutely insane. And also in terms of making sure it's habitable. So we had mold issues, we had insulation issues, we had one time where the roof was taken off for 6 weeks in January because there was a leak, and it was like leaking through the fire alarm in my room, and so there might have been like an electrical hazard, and it was just a nightmare. Okay, so having housing issues. I do have some anxiety about things going wrong with my house, especially since I moved into a flat by myself. I've like every time, I remember the first time I like left my flat for like a weekend, like overnight, and I was like, oh my god, what if something happens to my house while I'm away? And I was like, well, great, welcome to adulthood, you have housing anxiety now. But yeah, having housing issues is something that it does scare me a little bit, because, you know, it's to do with where you live, it's to do with your home. I think it's normal to be worried about that. Okay, the next thing that I'm worried about, and kind of wanted to put a little trigger warning for this section. If you don't want to hear about like harassment, stalking and assault, then skip over this section, because I'm going to be talking about that. But my next fear is harassment, stalking and assault, which I have experienced all of these. believe it or not. And they all genuinely sucked. I can say this as, I know I'm saying this with a smile on my face, but they all genuinely sucked. Like, it really messes with your sense of self. It really messes with your sense of like physical autonomy, and it really messes with, you know, your self-esteem, because you think, you know, am I worthy of respect? Am I worthy of being loved? So like, don't worry, I have processed all of this in therapy, so don't worry about me, I'm fine. But it really sucked, and it scared me, and it gave me a lot of trauma. So these experiences were kind of terrifying, and I'm aware that I may experience them again. Like, the times that I experienced them, they were very unexpected. Like, I didn't expect that to happen, and I think I was, to some extent, in a real like state of shock as well, because these were like people that, in some cases, they were people that I trusted, in some cases they were strangers, but it was just like, it came out of the blue. Like, I didn't expect people that treated me that way to treat me that way, and I'm aware that it might come out of the blue again, and that's another source of anxiety for me. So that is a big top fear, that's way up there. Okay, my next fear is something bad happening to my friends. I love my friends so much. Like, I genuinely do, okay? I would take a bullet for them. Caring about and loving people comes with the price tag of being worried for them sometimes. And sometimes, you know, when my friends are like, you know, they're off like having adventures or whatever, I'm like, you know, please can they get home safe? And I just want them to be okay, and I want them to have a happy life and not have any like mental health issues or like fears or failures. I just want them to live and have the best life that they can possibly have. Like, I want the best for them. And I do worry about their emotional and physical well-being, and I try and check in with my friends as much as I can, because I know that I'm really privileged to have them in my life, and I just want to make the most of those connections, because life is short, and I love my friends. The next thing that I'm scared of is climate change. I've always been interested in the environment and environmental well-being, and I am pursuing a career in like environmental conservation. So that kind of climate change scares me, especially since I learned so much. Obviously, I studied it at Durham. I learned a lot about climate change during my degree. I had many modules on it, and the more you know about it, the scarier it is. I mean, obviously, I think like the more you know about it, like knowledge is power. Like, obviously, yes, you can gain a sense of hope from getting a sense of control over what you can do, but even so, there is a reason that climate scientists are generally quite depressed. And finally, the last fear, and maybe the biggest fear, and maybe the fear that encompasses all of these fears, is my fear of failure. And this failure could be anything. I mean, obviously some of these fears like I have are out of my control, like the harassment one, or, you know, the health problems one to an extent, but like failure is huge. Like the fear of not living up to my potential, the fear of not being successful, of not achieving what I want to achieve or what I meant to achieve, that keeps me up at night. I can't lie. That's probably one of my, if I had to pick a fear out of all of these fears, failure would be my top fear. And maybe that sounds cliche to say, because I am the sort of person who runs a productivity channel. Like, obviously, yes, I'm very sort of type A and scared of failure, but failure, guys, it's real. And I know that some of these things are like tangible things, like, oh no, what if my house burns down? But also these other like less tangible things can really scare you as well. So failure. And that is kind of the last fear on my list. And I didn't make this video to scare you, because I know this video is just me talking about, oh my god, these things terrify me. I didn't make this video to scare you. I just made this video to kind of normalize it, because I feel like sometimes we consider other people to be fearless. We think other people have it all figured out. Absolutely not. I have fears like a normal person, okay? Like, I'm scared of things. And, you know, courage is not about never being scared. Courage is about being fearful and doing your best anyway, okay? So I just wanted to talk about what I'm scared of. Just, firstly, I'm not perfect, and I have like human fears and normal fears like everyone else. And secondly, like, it's okay to be scared. It's okay to have anxiety, and it's okay to just try and do your best despite that, okay? If you're never scared, then it's not really, it's a human thing to be scared, okay? So if you're scared, if you have fears, it's normal, it's human, it's okay. We all have them, and I hope this has kind of like normalized it a little bit for you. All right, those are all my top fears as a 23-year-old. If you're not already subscribed, make sure to do that. Give this video a thumbs up. I might do like a follow-up when I'm in my 30s or something to see if my fears have changed at all. Follow me on Instagram. Did I say that? Can't remember. I'll see you in the next video. Okay, bye.